everyone, good morning. So my name is Sankhadeep, for those of you who don't know. And today I'll be speaking about GraphQL. So how many of us have heard of GraphQL and not worked on it? We know what GraphQL does, but we haven't worked on it. Okay, 4 people. Oh, that's nice. Okay, what is GraphQL? So according to the official website, GraphQL is a query language for APIs and runtime for fulfilling those queries with the existing data. So that is the theoretical knowledge which we all need. So okay, why do we need to use GraphQL? So before we migrate to any very popular technology or topic, we always look at the technology leaders. We see what they use. So GraphQL was getting a lot of buzz in Twitter and everywhere. So there were a lot of famous people tweeting about GraphQL. They were endorsing GraphQL. So I have got a couple of quotes from famous people who think GraphQL are good. So there are a lot more, but I just got 2 or 3, so I hope that makes sense. So yes. What things are optimized for servers, not clients. Just to mention. And I have one more. And Ashish GraphQL will do to REST or JSON will to XML. So that's a very bold claim there. So let's see if that's true. Okay. So this is the app which I'm going to build. So if you look at this app from a REST point of view, what we'll do is that first we fetch the list of all the players, and then when I click on one of these players, we show the details of the players. And the details include the player name, the team which he plays for, and all his teammates, right? We can also, this part here, we can also add new players. So what we'll do in a normal REST server is that we'll get the list of all the players, and then the players will probably have a team ID, and then using the team ID we will fetch a particular team, and then the team details. But GraphQL allows us to do it all in just one query. I think we had a GraphQL meetup here a couple of months back, and Akshay Mathur gave a really good talk explaining this. So if you haven't, you should check his slides. He talks about underfetching and overfetching and how GraphQL helps us get over that. So okay, so just to show you that I've actually built this app and it's not a random design. So here is the app. So we can click on the app, it shows us the details of whatever players we have. So we can also add a new player. Let's add Sunil Chitri. So forward and yeah, it works. So if I click on Sunil Chitri, yes, I get the details. Okay, so I'll get back to the demo later. So let's complete the slides first of all. Okay, so this building this app, there are 2 parts. The first part is setting up the backend server, the GraphQL server, which will feed us the data, and then using the data in the front-end React using Apollo. So how many of you used React Apollo here? Like, I know Pramit has used anyone else. Krishna was doing, I think, Rishabh also, Sarika, of course, yes. Okay. Okay, so first we'll talk about setting up the GraphQL server. So that's how we set up the GraphQL server. Like it's just like any other Express app. We just need Express GraphQL there for it to know that okay, it's a GraphQL server. And this is the MongoDB instance. I'm using MLab, which is a remote instance of MongoDB. So it's nothing very complex over there. And here, this is our endpoint. So /GraphQL. So all our endpoints, we actually hit just one endpoint, which is /GraphQL. We don't need to have other endpoints for other, like if we have multiple requests, we can just hit /GraphQL and that will do it for us. And we have this schema thing here. Schema is where we define all our queries and mutations. I'll get to queries and mutations later, but this is where we define where we need to, like if we want some data, if I want players, where is player defined, how do we get to know the players? Schema is where we define this. And graphical true is just for, graphical true is for having this console, so you can test out all your endpoints here, whatever queries you have. So if I ask for players name position, it will give me all the players with their positions. And so yeah, that is what graphical true does. this thing here, nothing else. Okay, so let's move on to the schema file and see what it has. Okay, so this is by export of the schema file. I'm exporting query and mutation. So there are just two things here in my export file for schema right now, queries and mutation. So let's see what root query has. Can you guys read that? I think that should be fine. Okay, so for the first case when I was showing the list of all the players, so this is what I hit. I hit all the players. So that returns me the players, all the players without any filter. So if you see the find empty, what it does is that it will just filter out all the players without any parameters. So I'll get the list of all the players. And so for the second one here, what we have is a particular player. So here what we are doing is that we are returning the player and we are returning that player for which we are requesting. Suppose we are requesting for a player X, we pass in the ID of that player, and this find by ID is a mongoose helper method that helps us find a particular data with whatever we want. If we want it by ID, it will give us by ID. So yeah, that's what it does. It gives me the player by ID. So here we have for the resolve function, we have parent and args. Args is what we supply to the query, like the user, it gives the args. Suppose I want the data, I give it a particular args argument. So the argument will be in the ID. So yeah, that's it. These are the queries for players and one particular player. So this is how a mutation looks like. Mutation is when we add something or edit something into the backend data. So here also we have args. For args we have name, position, is right footed, and team ID. So whenever I was adding the player, you can see I was adding these details, name, position, and the other two details. And so this is in the resolve function is where we do the main thing. We do the player dot save. This is again a mongoose function, and here are all the details for that player. Okay, so these are queries and mutations. But yeah, if you see, we have here player type here, but we have not defined the types yet. So this is something we should do actually before we define the queries and mutation. So let's see how player type looks like. So here it is. The player type has the player has an ID, player has a name, position, and it also has a team ID. So since one player plays for a particular team, we can also get the team from it is also there in the player schema itself. So we don't need to make another request. So here is what we have. So as you can see, the team, it's gone again. So yeah, the team we are doing, we are finding that team for which the particular player is playing. So that we'll get by find by ID parent.team ID. So parent here, like for the last request we were using args. Okay. I think I'm loud enough. You can do it without the mic. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Okay, so we were using args in the previous request when we were searching for a player. So now we are using parent. So parent here is this team ID. So since one player plays for a team and we are defining the team ID in the player schema, so using that team ID we can go through the list of all the teams and just match that particular team which has this team ID. So that's what I'm doing here, find by ID. I'm going through all the teams and that team which has a team ID of players.team ID, then I'm showing that team. So let's see how team looks like. It's similar, team has an ID, team has a name, team has a league position of where it is right now, and then yeah, team also has players. Since one player has a team also has players, and one team can have multiple players. And so here I'm returning a list of players. Instead of here I'm returning this one team, but here we are returning a list of players. Okay, and how do we know which players play for this particular team? That is, we find all the players which have a team ID of the team's ID, which is parent.id. So here I hope it's clear how we use parent and args. Args is something which we use when we are supplying the data from outside. Suppose I need a player X, I click on that player, I pass the ID with the args. But if I need something like which team the player is playing from, I do not need to define it in the args because it is defined here itself. So we get that data from the parent. Okay, so I think that should be it for the backend side. Okay, now let's see how configuring the front end looks like. So this is it basically. We don't need to do much. I hope this provider kind of thing looks very similar to those who have worked with Redux. So we just pass in Redux we pass the store, here we are passing the client, and this Apollo client is where we define the URI of the endpoint. Like we were running it in the 4000 localhost in the Express app, and this is what we are listening to. And we are using Apollo Boost. Apollo Boost is been included from Apollo 2.0 onwards. So with Apollo Boost, we have link state and cache all inbuilt. We need not configure anything else from our side. So that is pre-configured with some basic defaults. So if people need some advanced control over their configuration, they can obviously change it. For I think our example, we don't need any advanced configuration. So yeah, let's see. Okay, so I have talked about queries and mutations. So like I said before, I'll get into them later. So how do they look like? So this is what a basic query looks like. We have the list of players. I just need the name and the ID. As you can see here I just need the name and the ID, so that when I click on them, I get the data for that player. So I need players and ID, name and ID. A team similar, but I'm not fetching team here, so it's kind of irrelevant for this topic, but for this example. But yeah, here's how we do basic queries, like if you want to get a list of players, and this is when we want to get the detail of a particular player. So here is the query ID, is the player's ID which I'm sending. Like I said, we need to send the args. So ID here would be the args, and these are all the fields I need. I need the player's name, position. So like I say, I'm getting the name, position, team, and everything, team. And also here inside this player schema itself, I am requesting the details of the team. So for the team, I'm getting the name, I'm getting the league position, and all the players that are playing from the team. So that's all inside one request, and I'm not having to make two requests for that. Okay, so this is advanced query, I would say. Not advanced, but this is a query where we are sending arguments to the backend. And this is what a mutation looks like. I think this is very simple. We have all the arguments which we are passing, like we have name, position, and whatever we want the player to have, and then we are passing this to this value here, and then we are returning name and ID. We can return actually more than this name and ID. So this part here, what we are returning, this is completely up to the user, completely up to us. So for my example here, I only need the name and ID. So hence I'm just returning name and ID. I can have more details here, but for now, but for this example, this is the only two things which I need. So here I have returned this name and ID. So this is what query and mutations look like. I think, yeah, now we'll add queries to our app. I think it's enough. Okay, so like Sarika said, we should use render props. So we are using query render prop from the query component from React Apollo, which has also been included in the Apollo 2.0 onwards. So here we have the data, loading error data. We also have more here, like we can have refetch here when we want to refetch data, but these three are the basics data. So what I need to do is we have loading here. So here, if we are using Redux, when we make a request, we have this, okay, we are fetching data, so that comes in the loading part. We set loading to true, and then okay, the data is back. We set loading to false. We have actions and all, but I think with this we negate the need for Redux, because we don't need to check for a flag whether we are sending the request or not. That is already there in this render prop itself. So here, if I am checking if you are loading, I show the loading text. Otherwise, I have the data back. I am just showing the list of the players with the data. So yeah, this is. We can also do it the old school time where we are not using random props. So here we can just import GraphQL from React Apollo and then just do it like an HOC, connect GraphQL to the player list, and then everything will be available to us via props. So this is how we are doing it. As you can see, it's very similar. But the advantage of using the query component is that if we have multiple queries, we can just have multiple components and then do it instead of doing it this way. Because if we are doing it this way, then probably we need to use another compose function to have multiple queries. But yeah, this is the, I think, suggested way to do it now. And yeah, and like I said, we also have to pass the argument. Sometimes when I click on a particular player, I need to pass in the ID. So this is how I do it. I pass it in the variables. So if I can go back here. So here it's expecting the variable ID. So that's how I'm passing it. I'm passing it via variables. There are multiple props. Variable is just one of them. We can actually do it using a lot. There's a prop called refetch where we can refetch the query. And I'll actually show you the docs later. But yeah, for now that's how we do it. And this is how we do mutations. Same mutation component, we import it and then we define the mutation here. It gives us callbacks on error or completed. Like if the mutation fails or if the mutation is done, we want to show an alert. We just do this on complement, on completed. We show like congrats, your player has been added or something like that. And we have variables here. These are all the data the player needs to have. And then we have this refetch queries. Refetch queries, as you can see here, whenever I added Sunil Chhetri, it just came back here directly without me having to reload the page. That's not because it is a real-time database, that's because I am running this refetch queries here. What refetch queries does is that once the mutation is complete, it will refetch all those queries which I defined here. So from now I've just defined the one query, we can have more queries here. So that's how I could get that real-time feel to it without actually having to reload it and without using subscriptions. I'll get to that later. So yeah, actually the variables and reference queries, they can also be used as props here. We can just have a props called variables and have all those data in there, and that will still work. But yeah, that's how it is in the doc, so I'll just use this. So I'll just show you the app right now, how it looks. Okay, so this is my server. I'm listening on 400. This is the GraphQL endpoint. This is my schema file. Let me just show you the schema file. And also, like you see, I've defined here for name, position, right-footed. I have defined here types, GraphQL string, GraphQL boolean. These are all imported from GraphQL itself. And you'll also see a flag called not null. I think non-null. Yeah, non-null. This means that this field is required. A required field is defined by non-null. And here we are doing new player. New player is a mongoose model. So this is the player which I am defining here, and then I import the player here. I'm requiring the player. So if you are not using mongoose, if you are using some other backend, we can do it using that convention as well. Okay, so that is all about the backend, I think. So moving on to the front end. This is my configuration here, Apollo client, that's all. And let me just show you the adding a player. Okay, like I said, we can just move this out of here as well. Let me try doing it as a variable here. I hope that works. Okay, let me see if that works. Yeah, I could add now. So yeah, this is also one way of doing it. We can just pass the variable as props instead of passing it inside the function itself. So yeah, I think that's it for the explanation. So yeah, there are more like in the sense we want us to have real-time database. It's not possible without subscription, but we can have polling interval. Polling interval, what it will do is that if we give a time of 500 ms, so for every 500 ms, it will refetch the query to see if something new has been added. And also, we also have the refetch function, like I said before. If you want to do it manually instead of polling after every interval, if you want to do it manually, we can do it using refetch. And these are advanced topics. These are something which I haven't done, but yeah, I can say we can use subscriptions. I think Pramit and me once tried it, but it was kind of tricky for us. Subscriptions are for listening to the backend, so that whenever there's a change, we get notified immediately. And link state for local state management. This is something like link state is something like Redux, not quite Redux, but it is for state managing a state locally. So how we use link state is very similar to how we use GraphQL in general. We also make queries to link state, like we make normal queries. Just that whenever we are using a local state for link state, we just write @ client flag before our query so that it knows it has to fetch from the local server, like local cache, and not from the actual GraphQL server. And then we can also improve performance changing the cache. I think we are already given Apollo in memory cache with Apollo boost. But yeah, we can obviously change that as well. So yeah, that's something which is in the to-do. That's why I gave it a to-do, because we need to explore them more to be able to talk about them. So yeah, I think that should be it for now. No questions? Hello? Any questions? Sankhadeep, any questions? Okay, I think. Judges, any questions? Okay, I think that should be it for now.